Hello there, welcome everybody, it's Diorama Don here. This is a diorama of part of a bocage. Now if you don't know what a bocage is, it's the area to the west of Caen in Normandy that caused a great deal of problems for the Allied troops, more so for the Americans than the British and Canadians, although it was a problem for them also. For all the preparation of D-Day, a lot of aerial photographs were taken of the area, but they didn't realise that the roads between the fields were sunken. They were lower than the level of the fields, which made it difficult to get in and out of a road going around a field. It caused a lot of problems because once a tank was moving along this road, there was no way out. They couldn't get out of the hedgerows either side were so thick because they were medieval hedgerows, and they were so thick and intertwined that they couldn't get a tank through it. So a German would be at one end of it and just pick out the first tank in a column, and that would be the end of that. And also, if they did find an opening and they tried to get out, that would be the angle of the tank as they tried to get over into the field. And of course, once a tank is in that position, then it only takes a very simple Panzerfaust or whatever to hit the underside of the tank like that to knock it out. So the bocage region was a big problem in the days following D-Day. I do know because my dad was there. He was a wireless operator in a tank. He went over on D-Day +6, I believe. I'm not quite sure. He's not with us anymore, obviously. But he told tales of how difficult the bocage region was. But I say the Americans found it more difficult. But it was an American, I think he was a blacksmith, and he devised a way, or he designed like a cutter thing with pieces of metal that he welded together, fitted on the front of his Sherman tank, and they were able to push through these hedgerows, which after a while was a big boon for the American tanks. They were able to move in and out more freely through the hedgerows. So it was all down to an American blacksmith. Anyway, the history lesson is over. So now you know what a bocage is, and I've made one. Okay, it didn't take very long to make, but hey, we'll go through how I went about making it in the following video, as usual. So without further ado, let's get on with it. So I've cut a piece of polystyrene, 3/4 inch thick polystyrene, 18mm. The length is immaterial, it's however long you want it to be. In this case I've cut mine to around 15 inches long. That should be long enough. But the width is probably more important. So you need to choose what vehicle you'll be wanting to be travelling along the sunken road, as it were. So with that in place, I've got 2 more pieces to go either side like that, and then 2 narrower pieces like that. So once they're in position, I can carve out the shape of the bocage itself, the sunken road leading up to the fields that are this level either side, and then with greenery, some kind of hedge system all the way along there. Okay, hope I'm explaining this all right. But I'll start off with the ground, if you like, and I've marked out where the tank tracks have made an indentation along the road, where other tanks have come along and now have made this indentation. So given that the tank tracks are that wide outside and this wide inside, then I've converted that onto the polystyrene. Then what I shall do with a sharp knife, and this isn't and it should be, I can just make a slight cut along those lines. Obviously I'll go all the way along and all the way down there, and then I can ease out with a sharpened barbecue stick where the tank tracks will have been. Okay, it's a messy old job, so I'm not going to do it in here. It's going to be too messy. And obviously I'll go across here as well to break up the surface of the polystyrene. So I'll go ahead and do that first, and then I'll go on to the next stage. So I'll make the general shape of what I hope to end up with just in polystyrene, and then move on to the next stage. Okay, so I'll do that, come back, and I'll show you. So I picked at it with my sharpened barbecue stick, and we've now got the shape that we require, with the sides coming down like that, and the indentation of the track coming along the middle of the road there. So when I put my tank in there, it will look in keeping. And I don't think that you would get as good a finish or realistic a looking finish with any other material. I don't think you'd do this with styrofoam, or if you did, it would take much longer to do. It's just polystyrene is that type of material that makes it look like a mudded field. So it's or even if you were making a rock face even, I just think it's so much more realistic. Okay, so we can't leave that exposed as it is. So what we need to do is seal it. So I've got some, well, they call it wall putty, it's wall filler. That's what you need, and the cheapest brand that you can possibly find in your DIY store. Doesn't need to be a name brand or anything expensive, and just add some water just to give it a thick paste type of consistency. And I'm going to put that. Now it's very difficult for me because I'm half blind. I can't see putting white putty onto white polystyrene, so I'm going to have to do a little bit and then finish it off later, because I can't really see what I'm doing. Not a good attribute for a modeller, not being able to see. It's not a good thing. But anyway, that's going to seal the polystyrene for what I am about to do next. So I'll go ahead and do that, get this all sealed up, wait for that to dry, and then I'll come back and do the next bit. Okay, so see you in a moment. So I finished giving it that coat of white wall filler, covered the whole area. It isn't quite dry yet, but that doesn't matter, not really. So in here we've got grey tile grout, okay, and just a little tiny bit of black tile grout. It doesn't need that much to darken it, very small amount, and then just a little bit of white PVA glue, and then a little bit of water added to that, and you get that. Now that's going to be our ground. So this is where it's going to make a difference. We can flop this on, and because the filler isn't quite dry, it's going to mix a little bit of white in with the grout, and that's going to be okay. So we need to do the whole area with this. Not going to do it all. I would just say also, when you're picking out the polystyrene, it's a very, very messy job. I would say do it outside, but not on a windy day, as it is today. There are houses within 100-metre area of where I live are going to have a coating of bits and pieces of polystyrene in their garden. It just went everywhere. It was a terrible mess. But what the hey. These things have to be done, don't they understand? So you can see where some of, well, maybe you can't, where some of the filler hasn't quite dried and it's mixing in with this grout. But when it's dry, it'll give it a good, better texture. So anyway, you can see now that it's beginning to look much more like a muddy field, which is what we're after, or a muddy road. Okay, when it's dry, it'll be even better. I'll just fill in these little spots here. I'm not going to have enough here to do it all, but it's just to give you an idea. Okay, I'll just do that much. But you can see that's beginning to take on a good muddy texture. So I'll finish that off, and when that's dry, then I'll come back and we'll do the next bit. So I finished the whole thing off anyway, and for the centre piece I just sprinkled some of this green, I don't know what it is, just I bought from my art shop very cheaply, just to show that there's a bit of grass growing in the centre there. But for the hedgerows either side, I went to my pillow on my bed and took out some of this filler or filling that was in the pillow, this kind of stuff, and stuck that PVA glue all the way along for the hedgerows, and then with some sponge, just pick off pieces of sponge. You could pick off very small pieces, but it's very much easier to put in a food mixer, a blender, you know. Just stick pieces of foam into the blender, turn that on for a few seconds, and it'll mash it up into small pieces like this. And all you need to do is just pour some green paint in with it and just rub it around, and it'll look like that. And then I just stuck that again with PVA glue onto this, and that's how it turned out. It looked pretty realistic hedgerows, I think. Okay, so an easy thing to do. It's not a difficult diorama to make, anything like this, but it was just a thought. Okay, so I'll leave it with you anyway, whether you decide to make one or not. So thank you very much anyway for watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel, please click the notification bell, please click the thumbs up, that one, this one, and I've well, what do they call it, super thanks. I've initiated the super thanks button, so entirely up to you. Okay, thanks for watching again, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.